Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be discussing the future of Marathon, the challenges that the game has faced up to this point, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the prospective future of the game. This is completely unscripted. I'm not going off of a script. I do have some talking points that I'm going to go over, but all of this is just off the top of my head. A little different from my usual content, so if you guys enjoy, leave a like, drop a sub. Otherwise, we're just going to get right into it. First, I'd like to talk about Marathon's obstacles leading up to the game's release. Obviously, there was a little bit of a art plagiarism scandal that has since been resolved. Good on Bungie for resolving that with anti-real. In addition, there was a lot of marketing miscues. The alpha wasn't very well received. I think leading up to the game's official release, they did a much better job with the marketing, especially with the Server Slam event. Overall, I think that they were able to recover pretty successfully from the initial negative opinion and public perception of the game that had been built up, and were overall still able to have a very successful launch. One thing I keep seeing on social media is nonstop screenshots and arguments about the player count of this game slowly declining. I think there's a reason for this. Why is the player count declining? Well, first off, Marathon's an extraction shooter, and extraction shooters in general don't really have a very active player base. They are a very niche genre that attract a certain crowd, and those who aren't part of that crowd tend to stay away. And even among extraction shooters right now, it's actually doing quite well. When you think extraction shooter, normally the first game that comes to mind is Escape from Tarkov. Well, that game, as of recording this, has 7,000 players active on Steam charts. Marathon, at the same exact time, has 18,000, so over double. I think that measuring player count is not really an accurate measure of success for the game, because clearly Tarkov has been a very successful game over its time, and even it is not averaging a lot of players right now. So to suggest that the game is failing because of that is wrong to me. There's a lot of reasons why player count might be declining. First off, Marathon isn't a very beginner-friendly game, so there are a number of people who will pick up the game, especially initially, and then maybe put it down and not enjoy it, or they might realize it's not for them and stop playing, especially early on in the game's lifespan, and that's perfectly okay. That's normal for extraction shooters because they aren't for everybody. They're not meant to be beginner-friendly, they're meant to be challenging. I also think that people currently are climbing over the content wall. And what that means is that more people are completing the end game type of events, like Compiler and reaching high ranks in the ranked mode. And as a result, they're taking a break. They're putting the game down, switching to other games for a little bit, and taking a break from Marathon, or maybe only logging on for those events, for Cryo Archive, or for ranked only, because that's what they feel like progressing. And I think that's also perfectly reasonable. Destiny 2 had a lot of success doing that with trials, and I think that it's not a problem for Marathon to go the same route. Lastly, this is the only real valid concern with the player count declining. The cheating problem has grown, as far as I'm aware. Now, I personally have never run into a cheater in Marathon, at least I don't think so, but I have seen clips of people cheating on social media. I definitely seen it and heard a lot of discourse about it. I don't know if it's as prevalent as people make it out to be, but also I'm not the highest rank, so who knows? I could be very wrong. I think that's also going to lead to the player count declining a little bit. But let's talk about what Marathon has been doing to resolve this. First off, to make the game more beginner friendly, they've been trying to introduce more casual level gameplay. So they introduced a sponsored Kit Dire Marsh event, and they also released the Cyber Acme Runner Reinforcement Initiative, which is the carry event, literally to carry your teammates to make cooperative gameplay for higher level players, helping lower level players more enjoyable and rewarding for both sides. I think that's a great way of encouraging higher level players to help their lower level counterparts catch up, especially towards the end of the season. As for the cheating, it's always going to be an ongoing battle in any PvP game. I'm not very satisfied with Bungie and Marathon's attempts to remedy it, but time will tell whether they can resolve it. I'd like to see them address it more, if anything. At least acknowledge, yes, cheating has been a problem. We're taking actions to fix it. I think that more than anything has stuck out to me is their lack of accountability on it. But time will tell what they do to resolve it. Hopefully something drastic and soon. To help counteract the content wall problem, they've introduced some new content like the Rewards Pass skins and Arachne skins. And they've been pretty great about interacting with the community to fix bugs, balance weapons. I think they've done a really phenomenal job working with the community to address the flaws of the gameplay and iron it out to make it something memorable and enjoyable for everybody. I think Bungie has if nothing else, been very, very aggressive in resolving issues. And I haven't seen a development team as committed to ensuring the experience is as fair as possible as Bungie so far. With that being said, what does the future of Marathon hold? Well, we've already got a confirmed new runner and a new night map of Dire Marsh coming for Season 2. And in addition, I personally think that now that everyone will have played a full wipe of Marathon, it will be a lot easier and more intuitive for players next wipe to figure out the gameplay. I think next wipe is going to be a lot more active, a lot more aggressive. You're going to see a lot more clips, a lot more publicity, I think, for the game, because now everyone knows what they're doing and they're all starting on the same level playing field. I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but I found that a lot of gameplay complaints for Marathon slowly went away as the wipe continued and people continued to play, progress their faction upgrades, built their runners up, built their vault up, and just learned the maps in the game better. People were complaining a lot initially about like the heat capacity, but as they got faction upgrades, that went away, and all of a sudden so did the complaints. Same with good loot. You know, people were complaining they were having a hard time finding good loot. But once they unlocked Outpost, once Cryo came out, all of a sudden people were able to find and get good loot, and they were able to build better vaults, build better guns, start taking better gear in, and then that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of they're bringing better gear in, then free kits kill those guys, now they're getting better gear, and now all of a sudden the loot economy is really building up. Overall, I'm very excited to see what Bungie will do with the sandbox that they have in Marathon. I'm excited to see how the game's gonna grow from here. I think that there are a lot of valid complaints to be had right now, like the cheating currently, and the content wall that people are beginning to reach. But I also think if you take a break from the echo chamber of social media and just play the game, you're gonna find that the issues people are complaining about aren't as prevalent as you'd think. Those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!